Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Games I Speak. I'm Gio,
And I'm Josie.
and today we have a cool lineup for you. I wanted to first start off with the Capcom leak. Are you aware of this,
Yeah,
Josie?
yes. Some hackers used ransomware to try to get some money out of Capcom. Capcom was like, nah, just leak it
Yeah,
out.
yep. Um, which honestly, you're better off just letting them leak it because you can't let these guys have so much power over you, you know?
Well, I mean,
And it's not top secret like national security information. It's a gaming studio.
with the what's it called? With the high profile leaks that we've had in the gaming space and the kind of unanimous response to it in that okay, leak it. I hope that it'll stop this kind of behavior, hopefully in the future,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, yeah, we can hack this and we can take this information, but no one really benefits.
Yeah, you're not
You
going to get
know, it,
paid.
it becomes a talking point,
Yeah,
but aside from that, like, why are you going to such lengths to do it if you're not really getting anything out of it?
exactly. All right. So I just kind of wanted to go over some of the games on here because there is one thing that really got me excited.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
No, Power Stones, son. All right. So let me go over these. Basically, in one of the leaks was like you know those business milestone
Calendars, yes.
calendars, yeah. So they found that. So Resident Evil Outrage, which is going to be Q4 next year, Dragon's Dogma 2, Q2 2022, Street Fighter 6, Q3 2022. That's pretty cool too. I hope they make it a more like stylized like Third Strike type of Street Fighter. I didn't really like the blockiness of this newest generation, but we'll see. Um,
We'll see.
Rockman match Q3 2022. Now, do you think that's going to be like a battle network type situation?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be Battle Network, but I'm just thinking from just the initial list and maybe historically speaking, a couple of the games and how they've been treated. Resident Evil Outrage doesn't really give you the idea of what kind of game it is,
Yeah.
except for maybe historically speaking, Resident Evil Outbreak. And I think that maybe Capcom is definitely trying to break into the, for lack of a better word, into the like more competitive esports, maybe more multiplayer based genre.
Yeah.
The kind of games like a service kind of genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they did that kind of with Resident Evil Resistance, tacked on to Resident Evil 3, but obviously they didn't believe in that.
No, no, people didn't buy it. I mean, people weren't hype about it. They were like, "Why didn't you just put more time in Resident Evil 3?" At least that's how I felt.
And no,
Yeah.
of course, that's fair. And Rockman match to me just sounds like it doesn't to me like a regular Rockman game like
Hmm.
Mega Man 11. Or it could even be some kind of like a small mobile game,
Yeah.
Rockman match, like a match 3 type game.
Yeah.
I see it going either way, but I just see it. I see these more like generalized games.
Okay.
Street Fighter 6, obviously akin to Street Fighter 5, and then
Yeah.
what was the other ones that we talked about?
Uh,
Dragon's Dogma 2. Dragon's Dogma had a Dragon's Dogma Online that's a Japan exclusive.
yeah,
So
you told me about that.
so maybe Dragon's Dogma 2 can use some of what they've used there or what they've learned there and make it into like a multiplayer, because I mean practically Dragon's Dogma itself is kind of multiplayer because you have to be in a party of four for the most part. Yes, you can kill
Hmm.
off your pawns, but hey, have you played it yet?
No, I never beat it. I have it. I should just power through one
Oh
weekend
yeah,
maybe.
definitely.
Um,
But this is what I'm excited about the most. These next two.
Resident Evil 4 remake, which I heard people speculating earlier in the year,
Yep.
and Onimusha New Work.
Yes, I am super excited for Onimusha. I'm a big Onimusha fan. I loved Onimusha 1 and 2. 3 is okay. And
That was
then,
the one with Jean Reno, right?
yeah, that's the genre now. Yeah, and then Onimusha 4 was awesome. I
Yeah.
love Onimusha 4. I'm forgetting the name though. It's like Dawn of something, Dawn of Souls, I think. But yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah. And for people who aren't aware with the Onimusha series, it was kind of like the grandfather to the Devil May Cry series.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
There's
and both of which were spin-offs of Resident Evil.
exactly, yeah. But the whole like uh the whole demon killing and collecting the orbs and all that was all started in Onimusha.
Yeah. Dawn of Dreams. Onimusha Dawn of Dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, Onimusha was awesome. I love those games.
Yes, yes. Onimusha
Those
was
games and the Tenchu games. Those were my favorite
Tenchu
games.
Wrath of Heaven. Still to this day, love that game.
All right. We have Monster Hunter 6. I mean, they're about to put out 2 new Monster Hunter games.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Rise and what else?
Stories too.
Ah, yes, Stories 2 for Switch.
So, I mean,
But those
I
are
don't know.
but Stories is an RPG.
Stories is an RPG. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a different type, and then Monster Hunter Rise is exclusive to Switch. So Monster
Yes.
Hunter 6 is probably going to be, one of the big boys going to next gen.
That's going to be their new, Monster Hunter World game or whatever.
Yes.
All right. And then Final Fight remake. That is pretty interesting. I mean, if you're like a
Biohazard Apocalypse and Super Street Fighter 6. Which I love how they already have a sequel for Street Fighter 6 already planned.
Oh shit, I did skip over those. My bad. Biohazard Apocalypse. What do you think that is?
So Biohazard is the Japanese name or the Japanese version of Resident Evil. So I find it interesting within this calendar report that they have different iterations. They have Resident Evil 4 remake, not Biohazard 4 remake.
Yes.
And Resident Evil Outrage, not Biohazard Outrage.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if this is a Japan exclusive style of game, maybe.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what's funny? A friend of mine brought this up. I didn't even think about it. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is essentially Resident Evil 7 Resident Evil. Because if you take the name, it's the Japanese name of Resident Evil. So it's like they named the game the same name twice. And
but Resident Evil 7 is just Resident Evil 7 here. It's not Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
No, I mean wait, no, it is Biohazard, isn't it?
Nope. Resident Evil 7 is just Resident Evil 7 over here.
When I look it up, it says Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
I'm looking it up right now. I'm looking this up in real time. We're going to do a Joe Rogan.
Yeah, right here. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they named they gave it the same name, but the English and the Japanese version in the title.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I stand corrected.
Yeah, Super Street Fighter. Yeah, they're already planning the next version. Power Stone remake. Power Stone remake. I'm hype over that. So for those of you that don't know what Power Stone is, it's like a party brawler game, and it was on the Dreamcast, and it's not well known, but it's a fun game even to this day. Because we played it at my house when I had that retro tournament.
Yes, and again, that leads to my idea of like more multiplayer centric type games, and that definitely lends itself to multiplayer. I mean, they can have like larger tournament style. I mean, I think what was the max characters on that? Was it 4? It wasn't 4.
It was 4.
Yeah, because of all the ports.
Yeah,
and they never did a multi-tap on there, did they, for Dreamcast?
No, but it had.
They had net. You could play on the net, but I mean, I don't think Power Stone was on the net at the time. But that sounds
had
fun.
to be a multi-tap, dude.
Huh?
There had to be a multi-tap. Someone
maybe
had to
some
make it.
maybe someone in the comments can let us know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Power Stone was a lot of fun, so much fun, and
Yeah.
if they're able to revitalize that for the current gen, more power to them.
Yeah. And then we have yet another iteration of Street Fighter 6. Ultra Street Fighter 6.
I wonder if that will hurt them. This is like people are just gonna wait for Ultra Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, this might actually hurt them because they'll be like, man, I know this is coming out in 4
Yeah,
years.
yeah, it's kind of messed up.
Um,
If you think about it, Street Fighter 6 is a beta for Ultra Street Fighter 6.
yeah, yeah. And Resident Evil Hank.
I think that's a misspelling of hunk. Like who the hell is Hank?
I don't know, dude. Hank sounds like a name of like
King
I
over.
don't know. Hank. The name Hank
King of the
always
Hill?
makes me think of King of the Hill.
Yeah, yeah.
But so yeah,
So someone photoshopped that, like put Hank in like a Resident setting.
Resident Evil Hank. Yeah. So there you have it. It's one of those things where it's like, we kind of know the game now, so they don't really have any other surprises unless they come up with something.
Well, the surprise isn't so much in that we don't know what's happening, granted, but the surprise will still be in what they do with it, how it's executed.
Yes.
So we're still going to be surprised in
Yeah.
how it's going to be coming out.
Yeah, but man, this reminds me of how they leaked the newer season of Street Fighter right before Evolution. And when Capcom went to the show, they had nothing to show. So they're just, but okay. Here is one thing that bums me out. There's no new Marvel vs. Capcom on that list.
Well, here's the one thing that I think that we're not taking into account is that all these games, except with maybe the exception of Rockman, seem to be, or at the very least, tied to heavy hitting franchises.
Yes.
There doesn't seem to be any kind of. I mean, I guess Dragon's Dogma can be attached to that. Onimusha has history,
Power Stone.
but Power Stone also has history.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that I don't see any kind of like B game type games.
Hey, Marvel vs. Capcom is not a B game.
I'm not saying it is either. I didn't say that either.
Well,
I'm saying I don't see any of it.
Yeah, I take that back. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was a B game.
Ooh, ouch.
All right. Next up. So this one is interesting. I don't know why, but maybe you can shed some light on this. For some unknown reason, I thought it was an unknown reason, the physical release of Doom Eternal on Switch was canceled. So basically the news goes that a lot of people were getting calls from GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, hey, your Doom Eternal has been canceled. So people were like, man, are they canceling Doom Eternal on the Switch? And then it turns out it's only the physical version. They're still going to release the digital version. So, I mean, you told me something interesting about that before the show started.
What did I say? I'm sorry.
You said it was because they were having trouble developing it for the Switch.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking maybe they're having problems getting it to work on the Switch without exploding in terms of the size of the game, and maybe that has something to do with the fact that it's not coming out physical because they don't want to pay for the carts.
Yeah.
Because the carts for Switch are actually more expensive than discs on the Xbox or the PlayStation. So I think that could be that's just an assumption though on my end. And I mean, yeah, go ahead.
And Doom 3, for those that haven't played it, or Doom Eternal, my bad, is a massive game.
Yes.
I mean, it's huge. So I don't know how much those carts can hold.
Well, is it Witcher 3 huge? Because now Witcher 3 is kind of like the standard for gigantic games that are on a cart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you think about it, a USB drive is only like this big, right?
Yes.
And you can fit 256 gigs on one easy. So it should be able to hold everything in Doom Eternal, but I don't know, maybe there's some optimizations that they couldn't solve.
And also maybe there is some kind of some what's it called, statistics that are behind the scenes that we don't know about. Like, how did Doom 2016, when it was re-released on Switch, sell?
Yeah.
So maybe I for one, I own a Switch, but I also own an Xbox One, and I also own a PlayStation. And Doom is not the game that I want to play on the Switch,
Me neither.
even portably.
No.
So
And for those interested in Doom, I did a review on it, so it's on the channel, so check it out. All right. So next up, this kind of cheered me up this week. IO Interactive, the studio behind Hitman 3, is working on a new 007 game. So there's not much. They put out a teaser trailer, which all it is really like the going down the bullet traveling through the barrel.
Yes.
That iconic scene from the intros to Bond movies.
Films.
But yeah, they announced it. They're making a 007 game. So what do you make of that?
I mean, aside from GoldenEye, I'm not very keen on like 007 games. And GoldenEye came, at a formative time, especially for N64 owners. But aside from that, I'm not too intrigued. I think I need to see more in order to kind of make more of a learned opinion.
Yes, yeah. So, me personally, like, yeah, I was a big fan of the GoldenEye game, but I'm also a big fan of the movie franchise.
Gotcha.
So for me, it's just
Who's your favorite Bond?
Daniel Craig, man.
Okay.
Daniel Craig. I mean, he has the most longevity out of all of them. Pierce Brosnan. What?
That's actually not true.
Wait.
What do you mean?
He hasn't been in the longest span of movies?
No, he hasn't.
Who's the longest span?
Sean Connery, by a mile.
Oh. Man, those movies are so old, man. I don't even remember the years that they came out. I've seen him though. I've seen
James Bond movies. There's been like 20-something Bond movies before Daniel Craig even got to the scene.
Yeah, I know, but he's been Bond for the last like over 10 years, hasn't he?
Only because there's been barely any Bond movies coming out. He's got like what he only has like this is his fifth movie. No Time to Die is his fifth movie.
Yeah.
Or is it his fourth? There's
it might
Casino
be his
Royale.
fourth.
There's Casino Royale. There was Quantum of Solace, and then Spectre.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, Skyfall. So so this is his fifth. No Time to Die.
Yeah, I could have sworn he's been Bond the longest.
No, but it's all good.
Okay, well, I want to say rest in peace to Sean Connery.
Yeah, R.I.P. Definitely.
Because he did pass away, and he was like a serious part of our childhood.
Yes, especially as James Bond.
And dude,
and Highlander.
Indiana Jones, man.
Oh yeah,
who can forget? So yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Game Awards. They basically came out with their nominees for Game of the Year. So let's go over these. We have Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and The Last of Us Part 2. So I'm cool with this list except for The Last of Us Part 2. I don't think this belongs on here.
Why do you say that?
Because I don't think it was that good of a game, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so... But I've played everything here, including Last of Us 2, except for Animal Crossing.
Yes.
That's the only one I haven't played. So, yeah, give us your take on this list. What do you think?
I don't really have too much of an opinion on this list. I think these according to whomever suggested them, it fits to them. So
Yeah.
it's very diplomatic, but I don't have too much of an opinion.
Yeah.
In terms of what game I would choose, I've only played 3 out of the 5.
Okay.
So I only played Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, and Final Fantasy VII Remake. And out of those 3, I would choose Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay. Fair enough. That's a great game.
How about yourself?
So for me personally, I would take The Last of Us 2 off the list. That's the first thing I would do. And then I would
Okay.
I would probably try to find another really good indie game to put on there, because the only one on there is Hades.
Yes.
And I would put it between the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Hades. I would put it between those two, because for me, Final Fantasy VII Remake exceeded all my expectations, and I loved it so much. But Hades, I mean, for such a small studio, the game is so incredibly well done, and it's just a beautiful game, and people are loving it. People are loving Hades right now.
For the only reason I haven't purchased it is because I'm waiting for the eventual physical edition.
Yeah.
You know how I am.
Yeah. So.
But what's it called? What I was going to say? Why is Ghost of Tsushima not in the running?
Because I just think Final Fantasy VII and Hades are just that good.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I did put out a recent, my top 5 PS4 games, and Hades got second.
What was number 1?
Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah. Yeah. So there you have it. I am a sucker for Final Fantasy games.
Very cool.
All right. And next up. So this news kind of bummed me out because I've seen Nintendo do this before. So I'm going to read this tweet from the Big House.
Who is the Big House?
As far as I know, they're a tournament organizer. So the Big House is heartbroken to share we've received a cease and desist from Nintendo of America to cancel our upcoming online event. We were informed we do not have permission to host or broadcast the event, primarily due to the usage of Slippy. Sadly, all of our competitions are affected. We are forced to comply with the order and cancel the Big House online for both Melee and Ultimate. Refund information will be sent shortly. We apologize to all those impacted. So, yeah. So what does this mean? Well, Slippy is like a third-party way to play games. It's like a third-party netcode. And so since Melee is such an old-ass game, they have to run it through an emulator. So they run it through this Slippy. I might be butchering this. I've never used Slippy, but this is my initial understanding of it.
Yes.
And Ultimate's netcode is not, they don't like it, so they use Slippy for that as well. So, yeah, I mean, Nintendo has to be Scrooge McDuck here and come in and be like, no, you're not allowed to run our game this way, so shut it all down. Don't have any fun. Don't advertise our games. Don't make people want to buy our games. We're just going to shut it down. And then we're going to make everyone pissed off at us who is part of our community. And that's what I see Nintendo doing. Maybe you have a different take on it.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think that Nintendo's protecting their IP, and it's an unspoken rule that users such as yourself and myself, that we're allowed to go ahead and use emulated software of games that we own.
Yep.
And that's okay. There's no legal issues in that. Now, if you emulate without owning the software, that's a different conversation, one that I don't want to get into.
Yes, yeah.
But companies like Nintendo, they don't care. They don't want emulated software to be used. It's play on their hardware with legitimate software,
Yes.
or no way at
Yeah.
all. And that's they're protecting their IP. I think the big house, I could be wrong, but I did hear or see that initially when they were having melee
Hmm.
tournaments, that Nintendo actually did send like concern. They were like, "Look, we're going to be sending you a cease and desist to stop that." Then this was before any of this pandemic situation,
Yeah.
and the only way that they allowed it was because they assured Nintendo that they were using Melee on
Hmm.
GameCubes with CRT TVs. So and then Nintendo was cool with it.
Yes.
And they allowed it for whatever time being. So I mean, in that regard, Nintendo was cool with it. But when it came time to software emulation and using this third-party
Hmm.
netcode, then Nintendo had an issue, and I
Yeah.
think it's fair.
Yeah. Um, Here's my answer to Nintendo. Fix your netcode. There. That's my answer. If these giant game corporations have shitty netcode and people find a way, but by the way, almost all these people own the game. Almost everyone owns the game. You're not going to find a competitive Smash player who doesn't own the game at home. It's just not going to happen. How do you think
Yeah,
they
but it's also not
practice?
going to happen that they have a way of authenticating that for people that are emulating it.
Yeah, I know, but that's none of their business, in my opinion. They don't have to authenticate everyone's um, library.
I mean, that's why you have things like DRM.
Yeah, and DRM sucks ass. Yeah,
I'm just saying this is a way of companies protecting their
I
properties.
know, I know.
It's not the best, and
Yeah,
hopefully in the future we'll have better solutions to this kind of
yeah,
situation. But for the time being, this is how they're able to protect their
I know,
IPs.
I know. It's also a pandemic right now, so people can't go to physical locations and have tournaments. So you think that they would take that in consideration as well, but it looks like they're not. So, um, yeah, that let's agree.
Just buy another copy of Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Um, all right. Next up, we got. So, Oxford University studies suggest that playing games is good for your mental health. So, this is basically a study where they took a bunch of players and they analyzed their game time, and then they looked at, they gave them psychology exams afterwards. And so they found that certain gamers, they had better mental health the more they played games. And this is kind of like a duh position. I mean, you and me, games help, don't they?
Yeah, they've definitely helped during this time period. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, yes, it kind of depends on the games, but even games that are hard, they're kind of cathartic in a way too, right? Like Demon Souls.
Yes.
Unless you're breaking your controller, right?
Unless you break your controller because you accidentally kill an NPC, and then you can't attain the specific ending that Demon Souls wants you to do until the next freaking playthrough. And that was Dark Souls 3, actually. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so kids out there, if your parents are like, you know, you're wasting your time, just tell them, like, I'm relieving stress.
Wait
Yeah.
until I become an esports champion and support the family.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right. Um, all right, so the new Game and Watch just came out. And you and me both have one.
Yes.
The only difference is I opened mine and you didn't open yours.
The biggest difference is that you bought two,
I did buy two.
and I only bought one.
So for those of you who want to get one, You can find them at Walmart and Best Buy and Amazon. They might be sold out now. I don't know, but they,
I thought I thought they were sold out.
yeah, they're probably sold out. Um, but they retail for what, $49.99, something like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So here it is. It has Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros.
The
The Lost Levels, which is Super Mario
Which is
Bros.
actually
2 in Japan,
2.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So these are the Nintendo ports. These are not handheld versions. So the characters are really small, but I can say this. The screen is very nice. It's very bright.
Yes. It's better than the Game Gear minis.
It is much better than the Game Gear Minis. Here, I'm going to set this up to full brightness. Check this out. Look how bright that is.
Cool. Nice. It's the wrong time.
Yeah. And then it has save states. So if you're in the middle of a game, you just turn it off and it saves your save state. So you can just
Cool.
pick it up and go back to it whenever you want.
So when are you going to hack it?
Yeah, I saw the video on that.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty difficult to even like put it on there.
To be honest, I'm content with these 3 games.
Yeah, I'm content with having it in the box. I don't even need to open it.
Well, I love the first Super Mario Bros. So to have it handheld is amazing for me. All right. Next up, we have some pretty interesting news. So, for those of you that don't know, Atomiswave is a console that is kind of like the next version of a Neo Geo. Some people call it a Neo Geo 2. And it only had 20-something games on it. But they were like arcade quality games, right?
Yes.
So you have Metal Slug 6, you have Dolphin Blue, you have Neo Geo, or Neo Geo Battle Coliseum. You got all these cool games. And they're kind of like, they were kind of stuck on the Atomiswave. And I didn't know this, but the Atomiswave is basically a cartridge version of a Dreamcast.
Okay.
So they share the same development kit.
Naomi?
Yeah. So the Dreamcast development kit, the Naomi Tower or whatever, was rebranded to an Atomiswave version.
Okay.
So the main difference is the Atomiswave is on cartridges, and the Dreamcast uses GDIs. So, I don't know if this guy's a modder or not, but his name is, let me get his name right. I have it written down. Megavolt 85. So he's another one of those genius guys. And he's porting the games over from the Atomiswave to the Dreamcast. So you can actually download the GDIs and load them on your Dreamcast.
Dang.
And it's awesome. I mean, it's incredible. So I've already tried a few of them.
Yeah.
There's a little lag, but that's to be expected. But they seem to run pretty damn accurate.
That's cool.
It is cool. It is cool. So I love to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Luckily it's not a Nintendo console, or else they would probably sue everyone involved. All right. Next up, we have some interesting news. I don't know if you heard of this.
I did.
So, do you mind reading this tweet?
So calm the spooky night. A symphony of rumors. Not one, but two return from shadow. a resistance to dart home as black monsters escape twisted hills to wander lands and siphon souls. Filter your candy collection soft from solid and be eco-friendly. Have a metal Halloween.
Yes. And then you have an image that looks like Castlevania.
Yes.
So, how many PS1 game references are in here?
Let me see.
I see Siphon Filter,
Yes.
Symphony of the Night,
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid,
Yes.
Silent Hills,
Twisted Metal.
and Twisted Metal. So that's a lot of games there. So the
Well, when was that tweet?
Let's see. That tweet, what? It doesn't have the date on here.
It should. Oh, this is a screen grab. Gotcha. Okay.
But this post was 3 days ago, so it's very recent.
Okay.
So what do you think? Do you think they're gonna remaster?
It also had Wanderlands, so I was wondering if that was this year or a previous year, because Wanderlands, that just reminded me of Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes. Yeah. So it looks like they're gonna be remastering a classic PS1 game.
Okay.
But they don't mention which one. They mention a bunch of them. What if they did all of them? That would be insane, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Yes, it would. Which one would you like to see?
Well, I think the first Metal Gear would be amazing. What about you? Out of all those?
I don't even know how they would do Symphony of the Night. Like, honestly, Symphony of the Night is perfection in my eyes.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to touch Symphony of the Night.
And Demon Souls, as much as I love their remake, I also, I see that they've at least going forward. I think we talked about this last week. Bluepoint has been taking more creative liberties as to what they do within their remakes. And they're kind of like slightly making it their own, staying true to the source, but it's different enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't particularly like some of the changes that they made in Demon Souls. And I think I can definitely be seen as nitpicky, but I will state for current gen people that haven't even played the original Demon Souls, it's a fantastic iteration of the game to play, and I hope that it has the same lasting power and impression that it makes on people playing it today that it did for me back when I played the original.
Yes. And you platinumed the game, right?
Yes, yes. I did 3.5 playthroughs.
And you did that in the span of like a week?
Correct.
Yeah. So for those of you that feel like shit hearing that, be aware that this guy is an expert in that game. And how many times have you beaten the original?
Oh, so many times. So many times. I love the original. And that's that's I think one of the reasons that I can state, how I feel about it and kind of be a little bit disappointed, but at the same time recommend it wholeheartedly and think that it's an amazing game.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can definitely state that I have nostalgia glasses on, and it's one of those things.
Yes.
Like I'm not going to let go of the original.
Yeah. As you shouldn't. As you shouldn't.
And that being said, Metal Gear Solid is another one of those important games that I love. And the original will always hold a special place in my heart. They did remake the original, and I own Twin Snakes on the GameCube. Yeah. But Twin Snakes, even the cutscenes are directed by Ryohei Kitamura, who's another Japanese director, not Hideo Kojima. And it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
And to even bring in that kind of gameplay, and by that kind of gameplay, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 type gameplay, into Metal Gear Solid 1, it's a completely different game already.
Yeah.
So I need to see it. In terms of remake out of all those games, I think I like to see what they do with Siphon Filter because I never played it.
No, you're right.
That would be the safest bet on my end. In terms of like these sacred other PS1 titles, I don't know.
Twisted Metal.
I never really played Twisted Metal either. I never got
okay. I was a huge Twisted Metal guy on the PlayStation. I love that
And
game.
I think Twisted Metal would definitely. It's one of those games where I don't think it would feel more like a brand new game, especially if they updated it for current gen standards.
But it's
And like aside from what's it called? What's it called? Combat
yeah.
League? What's it called?
Um.
Well, but what
Oh, Rocket League.
Rocket
Yeah.
League, thank you. I said Combat League. Rocket League. Aside from Rocket League, where other vehicular combat games are there?
There
I
is
mean,
one. There was one that was
yeah.
just is releasing soon.
Oh yes, the one that got pushed back.
Yeah.
But, but none of these games, neither Rocket League nor this one that got pushed back. I forget. It was like something All Stars, Derby
Yes.
All Star,
Yes. Yeah.
and none of them are as mature as
No.
Twisted Metal is.
But I can say this: trying to play the older Twisted Metal games, it is rough, man. It is rough. The controls are rough. So I would like to see a newer version where they smooth out the controls and modernize them.
Yes.
I would play it. I would play it.
Yeah. So, which game are you excited for out of all the references that they made?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Metal Gear's a good one.
Another issue with Metal
Yeah.
Gear, though, that I can foresee is getting all the voice actors.
That is true. That is true. Because the voice acting in that game was crucial.
Yep. And I mean, they changed the voice acting in Metal Gear Twin Snakes. So
Yeah.
I could see them doing the same thing again for whatever iteration they would
Silent Hill. We haven't had a new Silent Hill game in a long time.
To be honest, I'll agree to that. Silent Hill, I love Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. But Silent Hill, the first one, it hasn't aged that well. It is quite dark, and I really enjoy the story in it. So maybe a remake of that would be cool.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'll give it that.
Okay. All right, so we've come to the conclusion we're down for Silent Hill.
Yeah. And Siphon Filter.
And Siphon Filter. And Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
So if it's one of those three.
But Symphony of the Night, nah. I'm not feeling that.
It's too classic, man. It's too classic.
Not just that, but that pixel art is gorgeous.
It still looks good to this day.
I agree.
All right. So our final piece of news. Maximilian has partnered with Twitch Rivals to put on a 32-man Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 tournament.
Whoa.
On Monday.
That sounds intense.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. This one is also using third-party netcode, and Capcom didn't shut it down.
You mean Nintendo?
No, Nintendo can't shut this down. This is a Capcom game.
Oh, I thought you said Smash.
No. This is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was Smash Ultimate. Jesus. Okay.
No.
Okay. Got it. Well, you know why, right? You know why Capcom's not doing it, right?
Why?
Because Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom didn't sell.
No, that's not fair, man. The game, they called the game a success.
Fair. It did not perform well at all.
I know, but they ended up calling the game a success because of how much it blew up the esports scene.
Yeah, just in that regard, but in terms of sales, nah.
Yeah. Well, this is amazing. So they're running the tournament online. They're using third-party netcode that makes the game run much smoother. And they're doing it in partnership with Twitch. So
cool.
The fact that Capcom isn't suing them or giving them a cease and desist means that game companies don't have to do that. They clearly don't have to do that. They can allow it and they can be a part of it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Games don't have to protect their IP, but they do.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that this is not unprotecting their IP. This is not unprotecting their IP. They can actually go along with it and be part of the tournament if they wanted to.
Okay.
Because Capcom has a huge part of the whole competitive scene. They have Capcom Cup and all that stuff.
Yes.
So this is what I like to see. I like to see this because Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you can't play it online. The netcode is horrendous.
I like how you like to see Capcom approve of third-party usage of netcode, but not improve their own.
Well, here's the thing. They won't improve their own because
The game
I
didn't
believe...
sell? Oh, we're back to the beginning.
No. They should improve their own, and I was very skeptical of them. But they're not allowed to touch the game because of licensing things with Marvel. So they would have to release a whole new version where they updated the netcode. Which, to be fair, they had the chance when it came out on PC and PS4. So.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm super hyped for this. Some of these players, I think I've played one of them in person before. So yeah, this is Monday. I highly suggest everyone to check it out. And yeah, I'll be supporting this stream. So
cool.
Yeah. That's it for this week, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to chime in on anything, feel free to leave a comment. And yeah, we'll see you all next week.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and keep on gaming.
Keep on gaming. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Games I Speak. If you liked the episode, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.